Hey, what is up, nation? In this session, we're going to be going over how to model IKEA furniture in Sketchup. One of the things that I've realized from working in architecture is that a lot of times you can find cool stuff on the 3D warehouse or in any 3D catalog, but what happens when you're doing an actual project, if you're furnishing that stuff or if the client really likes it, they want to put that in their project because you're building this story that you're telling the client. And oftentimes, like, I've had trouble, the client loves something and then you're like, oh, well, I have no idea where to find this. And you spend hours and hours and hours and hours trying to find a specific thing. And even in my own life, there's been things that I really liked and I found it. And then I go back to order another one. Like we have some cool LED lights outside and I can't order them because they have discontinued that product. So you just be like kind of like mindful of what you're doing and what you're putting in your project, especially if it's a real project that you have a client for. So like on IKEA, I really like the shelf. Let's say the client has sort of like a more traditional twist on their project, contemporary but traditional. I don't know if that's an actual thing. There's a traditional flair here. So there's like some beadboard in the back, and then there's this trim piece, this like cornice-esque trim piece, and there's some flowy lines. So, obviously you can model this from these dimensions, but not all of the products on IKEA will have that. So we're going to do a combination of things. We're going to use this as our reference, but then we're also going to use the under product information, there's the assembly and documents. So this is what you would use if you're putting it together. This 3D image here will help us a whole lot. So we're going to set up a photo match for this. And if you really wanted to go to town, you could model all of this stuff, each piece and assemble it. It seems like it might be overkill, but maybe you want to 3D print one, right? I have a 3D printer and I don't know if that is the most practical, but you could do like a cool mold or something, and maybe you can make a metal one of these or something. I'm not sure. Yeah, so we're going to jump into that. So we're going to start here by using Sketch. If you've never used Sketch before, I highly recommend it. It pairs with Evernote. I'll leave a comment in the description. You can get some, I think it's free, a free month or something like that. If you follow that link, pretty cool. And I get credit if you go through that link as well. Which gives me like a month free or something like that. So you can help support this channel by doing that. But anyway, so we have this, and then you can just save it. You can either save it directly to Evernote, and I really like this drag me feature. Let's see if it works in SketchUp. Can I just drag it? Yeah, booyah! Okay, so we have this in here. I actually don't want this though. I want it to be a photo match. So it's not quite gonna work. Just open up my downloads folder, drag this in there, import, here we go, new match photos, that's what I want, cool, and then select your lines, so this line here, just be very careful, you may want to zoom in for this. Set your horizon line. We have that guy, and then we want this feller. Assume these are parallel. Nice straight line. Done. Looks out of scale. So let's actually. I'm just gonna leave it big for now. The thing with SketchUp is that when things get too small, it just doesn't work. So we're gonna use this. And then we'll use that other shape that we had to scale. So that other like dimension drawing. So we're just going to bring this out to here. Let's fix this slightly. edit match photo. Just zoom and make some refinements. Just very subtle. It's pretty crazy how just a tiny bit of information can make a big difference. So just try to be as accurate as you can. I'm using the mouse wheel here to scroll in and out. Just makes it super easy. So that looks much better. All right, you just want to make your job easy when you can. Okay, so we're going to start here. And instead of like extruding this up and then trying to find the shape, I'm just going to come all the way up. Just assume that it might come up to like here, over, back, and then extend this out. Now the trick here, when you're holding shift to lock to that red axis, one of the tricks here is that this is going to be a swoopy line, so there's essentially two curves here. So I would choose, let's say this is the tangent, so I want to just select, I'm going to draw a line here first. Let's say this is the tangent point between those. That way I'm making sure that I'm in the correct plane when I do this. So we have one here, and then another one here. Just select on this face, and then just holding shift, and I get a nice flowy line. Hit E for the eraser tool. So I have this shape, and then I can extrude it or push pull. Now if I delete that, you can see that it gets rid of that. So I just want to hide it, so I'm going to hit shift and click on that, and it will hide that shape. Double click into this, make it let's make it a group first. I've had some issues with making things components that it doesn't actually change them. So let's call this vertical support. I was going to call it N, but there's some middle ones. Okay, and then I just want to click on this, make sure that in entity info, okay, that is correct. So what I'm going to do here is then copy this to the end. Just trying to be very careful. Right, so I have that at the end, and then I'm going to hit divide 2, so that it will put one directly in the middle between my two end pieces. It just makes it really easy for me to just find the midpoint, and I don't actually have to like measure anything out. So the next thing, say these shelves, it looks like there's maybe 2 of them. I'll just go straight back, right? And then go to that point, make 2 of these. I don't know if that's a solid shape or what, but we're just gonna make this component. So we'll call this shelf. We have that shelf, that's a top shelf. So actually these are different sizes, but I think for this, we'll actually be able to use the same one. The textures like aren't very, very different. So I'm just gonna push these in. So that they are at a location that makes sense. Looks like I may have accidentally pulled this. Okay, so that looks like it makes sense. So there's our shape, and then just double click up here in the scene to get back to it. Now this shape here can be a little bit problematic, and the reason for that is just I'm not exactly sure what the profile is. So this is where that original shape will come into play. So if I click on this image, it'll bring me this, and then I can also zoom in. So this is, I'm just gonna hit print screen to get that shape. Windows print screen. Okay, so in the screenshots folder, we now have that. So let's go and drag this into our model. Okay, I'm going to hit camera, standard views top, It looks like we're already, oh, we're not in parallel projection. I'm going to turn on parallel projection. Now I just want to get this shape here. So you can see it's pretty fuzzy even though we have that blown up version. Just come over here, here. I think that there's like some shape going on here. Because there's a line here. So I'm going to say that maybe there's a little bit of a cut in. And then an arch. Let's go like a subtle arch. And then another subtle arch. Something like that. Let's look back at that reference image. It actually looks it looks like there's a step here and then there's just a flowy sort of curve. So let's go back to SketchUp. Just get another flowy curve in here. So this is probably more attuned to what it looks like. Let's push this out a little bit. And we want to make sure that this is the right size. So we're going to say, draw a line here. 18.5 inches. So I'm going to select this, make sure you have that selected so it just scales this. Choose the tape measure tool. Select the tape measure, 18.5 inches. Yes. Zoom extents. Delete that guy because I don't think I'll need him anymore. The same thing here. Tape measure. What do we have? We can't do that vertical because we don't have the top. So what we need to do is we can do the width. So we have 57.5 inches. From here, make sure that I'm in the green, 57.5 inches, yes. All right, let's try group. Now let's try it. So I'm inside the group. 57.5 inches. That way that stuff on the outside stays how it's supposed to be. Now we're going to draw a shape here. Now there is some missing information here. I'm not sure what the top looks like. Maybe it could be in the... Make sure that I draw this line. So I have that path selected, and hopefully that guy on the end is selected. I can't really tell. Choose follow me, choose my shape, and there we go. So we have our nice, beautiful shape. I just want to make this a group. And actually, I'm going to explode that because I don't need that as a group anymore. Okay, so now we are going to go back to our screenshot. We can see that we're massively out of scale now. So what you can do to edit that is, because we scaled everything to be to scale, let's go to edit, match photo. And then on this blue axis, you can just drag and it should scale. You may need to change your origin like I am here. And we do have something similar. The shape is a little bit out of scale. That looks much better. You can see that we're pretty close to what that shape is. And then the last thing, it looks like there might be something, maybe there's 2 more steps to this. So let's check it out. Okay, so this shape actually goes all the way up. And there's just like a little place for everything to sit. So it looks like a piece with just like a little chamfer maybe. It'd be really cool if they had just like all the shapes. So it looks like just a chamfer at the end. So let's go. I'm just gonna draw like a really big shape to start. And we'll just massage it back to here. So we have that vertical. Then we'll come across. Now I'm just using the reference planes that I know exist here. So like I know that this is going to come all the way across. So I can stay in this view, and ideally you stay in this view for as long as you can. You know, because you're matching. It's at least what I found. So bring this up. And it looks like I may have a little bit of an issue with my shelves sticking out the back. Scale. Just push these in. Looks pretty good. Now these guys, like we saw earlier, actually come all the way up. So let's do that. Just extend those up. Since they're components, it makes it super easy. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to put this beadboard on the back. So we have that. We'll just give it a little bit of a thickness. We didn't group this, did we? So make this a group and then turn it to a component, and we'll call this base trim. And that should be identical to that. Give this a little bit of a thickness, let's say 1/8 of an inch. Just group it so it doesn't come into become a problem later. And there we go. Actually, let me undo. It'll be easier as a 2D surface to edit this. So delete this line. Make this a group and then make it a, we'll leave it a group for now. So that's about half. Now the trick here is that we want to make a line that is from here to here so that we can divide this. So what do we say? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm just going to draw based on what I know is here, right? So I'm going to start with these so I have the width. I have the width here. Then I can just copy this, making sure to stay in that green axis. Now I could make this equal, but I don't have all of the information necessarily. So I'm just gonna copy what I know is there. So it looks pretty good. Now I am going to extrude this back. Let's push pull this 1/8. Just do that for all of these. Now, since it's doing this already, let's just go even smaller. Let's say push. For some reason, it's like, maybe it's because this face is backwards. I don't know, it's not making the face the correct way. So I'm just gonna actually just push this back like a 1/16 of an inch to get that bead look. I don't need anything here, or I technically don't need that guy either. This isn't gonna have a top and it'll save you on the face count. Obviously, just one of these, it doesn't make a difference, but it's a good habit to get into, just to delete any faces that you don't need. It adds up over time. Okay, so we have that guy. Just nice subtle, and then we'll move this shelf up because that looks weird. Move this shelf up. Expand it out to here. Then move this down. I'm not sure where this goes exactly. But we'll just say about right here. And then scale this so that it ends here. So the back of this looks a little weird. It's really not a problem to fix. Say, so this is, oh, how far is this? 3/16. So let's go 4/16. And we'll come all the way across. Just connect this. I'm manually constructing this now. Here's the edge. And then finish this shape off. Now, if I take the beadboard here, this is a component, make component, beadboard. Now, if I think that is too thick, I can always come in now and just smush it. It just makes it a little bit thinner. And because this is a component, it should tile nicely across. Just make sure you're locked in that green axis. There we go. And I think that's it. I think we have our shape. So, and then if you want to add color, obviously you can do that from the photo. So let's go back to here. This looks like a matte sort of gray. If I wanted to cheat a little bit, I'll show you a cool little trick here. So I'm going to bring this in and then drag sketch in here. I'm going to say, how do we want to do this? Let's explode this first. And then what I'm going to do is sample sort of like an area. So if I do say make unique texture on that area I just selected, you can see that I have just that area. But what you can do is it sort of generalize the color because it does that on its own, which is kind of cool. Instead of using the texture image, I can just unselect that and it'll choose sort of like average those colors into something that makes sense. So then I can just paint these to be that color. And that way I don't have to like figure out what color is what. There we go. Then if I go back to here, you can see they match up pretty closely. And you have your IKEA bookshelf. If you thought this video was helpful, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. And as always, happy hacking.
All right, designers, just because this episode of Designer Hacks is over doesn't mean we're leaving you out in the cold. Tony's got tons of great content available at designerhacks.com. So join Design Nation right now, and we'll see you on the next episode of Designer Hacks.